Welcome to the State of the Nation. We aim to bring you the latest news about the political and public turmoil brewing in the UK. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the latest news and content from around the UK. Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK, has voiced significant dissatisfaction with Labour's recent budget statement. He has labelled the budget as economically illiterate, specifically criticising the considerable tax increases proposed by Chancellor Rachel Reeves. Additionally, Farage has directed his criticism towards Labour MP Diane Abbott, alluding to a past interview in which she struggled to articulate numerical information. He argues that the budget will negatively affect working individuals and impede economic growth. Let's listen to what he has to say.
But economically, I sat listening to the numbers thinking this budget is illiterate. I don't know who's doing the sums, whether perhaps it's the Right Honourable Member for Hackney North, but the sums do not work. And the markets now agree with me, because just in the last couple of hours, we've seen a very substantial spike in gilt yields. We're not quite yet back to 2022 with that mini budget, but clearly people are saying this isn't going to work. And even more concerning, I suppose, is that the new head of the Office for Value for Money, David Goldstone, has served for many years on the board of HS2, which I would suggest is the very opposite of value for money. Invest, invest, invest is what we heard at the start of this budget speech, and I thought, yes, that's what we need, absolutely. Not just the big multinationals that come to smart conferences, but equally, hundreds of thousands of people putting their own risk capital into start-ups, into new businesses. But no, this invest, invest, invest is going to be done by the Chancellor on our behalf. Not just a top economist at the Bank of England, but she's now going to be the fund manager of the nation, investing money and trying to pick winners. And I would suggest the last time governments attempted back in the 1970s to invest money and pick winners, it ended very badly indeed. Maybe one or two members of the House ought simply to grow up, but there we are. It's a bit sad. And I've worked in private business myself, and I do wonder, I do think picking winners is wrong. I think we leave this to the free market, and we let people either make money or we let them lose money. And frankly, if they do their dough, well, that's just the way these things work. Any business employing 5 or more people has today been hammered. And I make the point that I've set up companies and run companies. Nobody on the front bench has ever worked in private business. Nobody on the front bench understands what genuine risk capital is. Our business secretary, from what I can make out, has never even had a job. But the most dismal part, no, I've had plenty of jobs. Well, apart from being in the European Parliament, which doesn't really count, obviously. But I got to tell you, what is dismal about this budget is the growth forecast. If the ambition of our Chancellor is that in 4 years' time, growth should be 1.5%, that is very, very bad news for everybody, and particularly because it takes no account of the rise in population that will happen through legal immigration. It basically means a rise of zero. And nobody's even mentioned today the fact that gross domestic product per capita, wealth per capita, has been falling consistently nearly every single quarter for the last 2 years. The bigger our population becomes, the poorer we are becoming. And that's a reality we've got to wake up to. But I would say this, the big picture is we're in decline. We're getting poorer. There isn't a £22 billion black hole. That's nonsense. It's 2.7 trillion. Our debt repayments are 90 billion a year. And from all the figures I've seen today, that will be worse in 5 years' time than it is today. We need a complete change of culture. We need to start saying success is a good thing. Making money is a great thing. People becoming rich is something we should encourage. We've got to change our culture of work. The idea that, oh yes, work from home, do a 4-day week, get your work-life balance right. Well, you know what, actually, why don't we say to people, young people, hard work is a good thing. Yeah. Hard work is the only way anybody succeeds individually, and hard work is the only way we're going to have a chance as a country to turn any of this around. We're in much deeper trouble, and much more... now, you keep on going. Please sit down, honestly, you've had a go. We are in much deeper trouble than anybody on either front bench dares to admit. It's a reality we should all face, and I have to say that, for a Labour Party that couldn't define what a woman was, couldn't define what a working person was, well, after today I'm pretty convinced they can't define what economic growth is. Thank you.
Yeah. Farage's assessment of Labour's budget has sparked considerable debate. He maintains that the proposed tax hikes will suppress economic expansion and disproportionately burden the working class. He further contends that the budget does not provide adequate support for small businesses and entrepreneurs, whom he considers essential to the economy. In his speeches and media engagements, Farage has underscored the importance of a more business-friendly approach, advocating for lower taxes and minimized regulations to foster economic activity. He is also calling for increased investment in infrastructure and public services, but insists that such funding should come from more efficient government spending rather than through elevated taxation. Farage's remarks resonate with many of his supporters, who share his apprehensions regarding the economic implications of Labour's policies. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments your views about the recent budget announcement.